Out Now from Dark Sky Films. It was supposed to be in theaters and on demand. That whole in theaters thing right now, not really happening. So Out Now on demand from wherever you rent your films digitally for the home is a film called 1BR. That stands for One Bedroom. It's the story of a young woman who is striking out on her own from a small town somewhere in America. She goes to LA to make something of herself, and she's trying to find an apartment. And you know, a good apartment is hard to find, especially in the city, and some people would just go through anything to find a good apartment. And she does go through things you probably don't want to go through. Partway through the movie, you're like, was the pad really worth it? So I'm generally one to not want to get too far into what the storyline is in a film, which I know is not helpful if you're trying to make a decision on whether you want to watch it or not based on what I say. But this is an instance where, yes, every film I think is better going in fairly blind. All I knew going into this was that it was a young woman trying to find an apartment, and then bad things happened. I was surprised at the turns of the story as they came along, as any story is supposed to be. But I feel like I want to talk a tiny amount about this. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, and let me jump forward and say I do recommend it. So if that's enough for you, see ya. But if not, I'm going to talk a little bit about the storyline. So the young woman goes to an open house in an apartment. She is selected to be able to receive this apartment, and she shows up and everybody's extremely friendly. And before I knew where the story was going, I'm thinking, wow, where in the world is this apartment complex where everybody is just nice to each other and they're having cookouts all the time in LA? You find out that there's a sort of a benevolent / sinister purpose between all of this friendliness. Basically, the apartment building is operated by a cult, and they want her to join this cult where better living through brotherhood and the four principles. But the things you have to go to get there are hazing to the extreme. So I'll say that much about this film. So it's basically a movie about a cult. It's about somebody who is trapped in a circumstance she can't escape from, and how far will she go to survive and either be a part of this group or try to get out of this group. It's pretty gruesome at times. It's very disturbing at times. Not really any major star power in this film. There were faces that we recognized watching it from other things, but the kind of faces you couldn't really put your finger on where they came from. A lot of people who worked a lot in TV. One actress, the elderly actress in the film, was actually in War Games. And lead actress is somebody I wasn't familiar with, but to me that works in a film's favor usually, because I'm not saying, oh, it's so-and-so and I know what kind of character they always play, or this is a high-profile actor or actress and they're certainly going to make it to the end of this movie. So with people who are unknowns, to me at least, they are these characters. I'm bringing no baggage to it. So it worked on that level. Certainly well made, well shot and edited and constructed. Not the first film I've seen sort of like this. It was reminiscent of a lot of other things I've seen, but it held my interest throughout. What is this cult's purpose? Where are they going to take this girl? Why are they doing what they're doing, and where is she going to wind up when the film is over? So I thought it was good. It was reminiscent of, like I said, a few other films that I've seen, but in a good way. And it is a film I would recommend. Now it's out now digitally. It was released to this world on the 24th of April, so it's out there for everybody to watch. And I've heard from a few people who I know who have quite liked it. So I think if you like a good thriller, not afraid of a little violencia and a little traumatic imagery, 1BR is not a bad way to go, especially when you are trapped in your house or apartment like we all are right now.